Kia ora, I'm Erin J Doyle. Welcome to my channel. My original plan for this video has gone out the window because I suspect the footage for it is going to be unusable. So I spent the entire morning going on a bit of a shopping spree and then decorating my workspace and making it much prettier and more functional, and I'm very happy with it, but the footage I suspect I will not be very happy with at all. So in order to actually get a video out, I'm going to be doing a tag. So it seemed appropriate to do the writers not writing tag. There is a link to the original creators video down in the description, as well as a list of the questions. So let's get on with it. Question 1. Do you have a day job? Yes, I am a molecular ecologist. So a molecular ecologist is a person who asks questions like, what is this organism? What has it been eating? Is this population related to that population? Is this population inbred? Those type of ecological or population related questions, and uses tools from genetics to answer them. Usually a molecular ecologist, at least in my experience, is an ecologist who has picked up genetics along the way. I'm actually the other way around. I'm a geneticist who has picked up ecology post-graduation. Number 2, are you a reader? Yes, I read. Question 3, what are your other hobbies? My other hobbies are quite limited. I used to do a lot of crochet and I was starting to get into weaving, but I find that personally I like to do those whilst sitting in front of a TV, but not a computer. I find with a computer you're much closer to the screen and you tend to have headphones and there's things in the way, whereas with a TV usually it's bigger screen, decent speakers, so you've got a bit of distance and you can spread out your crafting supplies. So my productivity in the fibercraft realm has dramatically reduced since I got rid of my TV. I don't feel bad about that, it's just a fact. I also like going outside and adventuring. I like hiking. I barely do it, but I do like kayaking. I really want to try paddleboarding. I like go out and enjoy the environment type outdoor activities. I'm not into like actual sport. Number 4, tea or coffee? Preferably neither. I do drink tea, but more of the like, you know, fruit and flowers variety, very rarely with actual tea in it, and I don't like the taste of coffee at all, even in like cake form. I find it unpleasant. So yeah, we're going tea, but even then it's not really tea, not if you're a purist. Number 5, what are you passionate about? Writing? So aside from storytelling, the environment and conservation is something that obviously is important to me. I mean, I'm a biologist, of course it's important. I'm also passionate about social issues, without making this a very political statement. We're just going to keep it at that. But yeah, like I tend to go off to protests and things when I can, so yeah. I guess I'm passionate about having a livable world in the very practical way of policies and social change and protection of the physical world as well, I guess is what I'm passionate about. I don't know, I didn't read these questions in advance, so if I'm waffly, that's why. Number 6, do you have any pets? No, not even a fish. I would have a dog in a heartbeat. I would love a cat. I desperately want a pet, but I just realistically can't at the moment. So no pet for me, just a very unhappy pot plant. Number 7, what was your dream job as a child? writer and scientist. When I was 4, I wanted to be a storyteller, which very quickly evolved into story writer once I kind of understood that that was a thing. Obviously, for me, my first relationship with stories was through oral rather than written means, because I became obsessed and passionate about it before I could read. So that's why I think I wanted to be a storyteller as opposed to a writer. But once I connected with writing, rather reading and learning about that, then it became writer. At the same age, I wanted to be a paleontologist. This was quite some time before Jurassic Park, so I did understand that a paleontologist wasn't going to be running around actually working with live dinosaurs. I knew it would be digging through the dirt with a little trowel and a brush, and I was down for that. I pictured myself spending days, you know, in the dirt, sifting through, you know, the dust and little bits to try and find little fragments. I understood what paleontology would entail. That's what I imagined for myself, and then because I understood that this would mean, you know, staying in tents, potentially out somewhere kind of remote, I imagined myself spending evenings sitting around a campfire with the other paleontologists telling stories. So there's been a little bit of an adaptation from paleontologist and storyteller to writer and biologist, but I feel like I kind of am doing what I envisaged for myself, except I'm in a laboratory instead of the field most of the time, but the gist of it's pretty similar, I think. Number 8, if you could live anywhere else in the world, where would it be? Almost anywhere. I am so up for adventure. I don't want to live in Australia. I'm constantly being told to go to Australia because New Zealand and Australia are very similar, but the pay is much higher in Australia. So I could earn a lot more money if I went to Australia, but I'm just like, it's hot and bitey. I just don't want to. But almost anywhere I think I would enjoy, but whether I'd enjoy it forever is a different question. I don't know. I possibly would quite like living somewhere like somewhere maybe in the UK or Europe, where there's lots of old stuff to look at. I quite like the idea of living in a little village where I don't need a car and I can just kind of get a bicycle with a basket on it and sort of cycle down the lane to get bread or whatever, and then go home and drink something that isn't tea while I write. That seems quite appealing to me. But I don't really have a fixed location in mind for that. Number 9, do you speak any foreign languages? I try so hard. I have studied German, Spanish and Japanese, and I speak almost none of any of them. I've been to Spain a couple of times for well, not long periods of time, but like weeks and weeks on end in Spain, and I still am just like pointing to stuff and shaking my head in shops. Like, it's really bad. I just really struggle with foreign languages. It's not something that I'm wired for, but the will is there. I really wish that I could speak those languages. Number 10, what music would we find in your collection? I think you'd find a little bit of everything. I think my music taste is fairly eclectic, much like my reading tastes, but at least according to iTunes, my most abundant genre is pop, which always confuses me. I don't think of myself as a pop music listener, but clearly it is. Like, it is by far the most abundant genre, so I guess that's what you'd find in it. But there's also, you know, old school rock and roll and grunge and presumably other things. My brain has just failed to tell me any kind of music genres. So with that, I think I'm going to call it a day, because I think my coherency and question answering ability has wound down, As I mentioned earlier, a list of the questions and a link to the original creators video are in the description below if you want to do this video yourself. Do let me know in the comments if you have so I can go check out your video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!